Are you looking to develop your next application using the Go programming language and MongoDB? Well, you're in luck. I'm Nick Raboy from MongoDB, and we're going to see how to connect to a MongoDB cluster using the Go programming language in this tutorial. Up on my screen, you'll notice that I do have Visual Studio Code open. We're going to be developing our Go application in this particular IDE. I do already have Go installed, so that is a prerequisite to this particular tutorial. But as long as you have that, go ahead and open up your IDE. And what we want to do is we want to install the Go driver for MongoDB first. And we're going to be doing that with Go modules. So I don't have that configured at the moment for this particular project. So what I'm going to say in my terminal is I'm going to say go mod init. I'm going to provide it a package name. So I'm going to just say mongodb.com/go connect example, which is the name of my project. I'm going to hit enter, and it went ahead and initialized the Go modules for this particular project. And with that done, we can actually get the MongoDB Go driver. So we're going to say the following. We're going to say go get, and then we're going to provide the URL to the MongoDB driver. And I'm going to hit enter. So at this point in time, we are ready to start developing with MongoDB. So to start things off, we're going to go ahead and define our MongoDB connection string. I'm going to give it a variable name. I'm just going to say MongoDB URI. And I'm going to say that equals my connection string. So in this case, my connection string will be using MongoDB Atlas. You can use Community Edition if you want, but I heavily encourage you to use Atlas because there is a free tier and it's very convenient. So now that we have a URI, what we can do is we can establish our MongoDB client. So this is what we're going to be using to connect to MongoDB. And I can do that by first defining the client options. So the client options are going to contain information like the connection string that we just declared, and it's going to include other optional options as well. And we're going to be piping that into our actual connect command. So we're going to say client options equals options.client.apply URI. We're going to pass in that URI string, which is MongoDB URI, and we're going to define an application name. So I'm going to say set app name, and I'm going to call it DevRel tutorial Golang. And I'm going to say connection. Now, the app name is optional, but if you want to give me some credit for this particular video, go ahead and use that app name because then I'll get credit for it behind the scenes. So with the client options in hand, now what we want to do is we want to define the context for our connection. And the reason why you might want to do this is because it'll allow you to set timeout information, among other things. It depends on what you're trying to use it for. But in this case, we can define a timeout, maybe 10 seconds if the connection doesn't work. And we can do that by doing the following. So now that we have our client options and the context, let's go ahead and run the following. Let's go ahead and say, first of all, fmt.println, just so that way we can say, hey, we're at the stage where we're trying to connect. So we can say attempting to connect to MongoDB, just so that way if something does fail along the way, we'll know right away where it failed. And what we can do is we can say Mongo client, which is our variable name. We're going to track to see if there's an error, and we're going to say mongo.connect, and we're going to pass in the client options. Now that we've tried to connect, we want to be able to catch an error in case something went wrong. Maybe you didn't open up your MongoDB cluster to the open internet or wherever you're trying to connect to. Maybe you're using invalid username and password credentials. Any number of reasons could make it fail right here, and we just want to be able to catch it so that way we can make that fix. So what we can say is if the error is not nil, that means there was some kind of error that was returned, we can just do a panic and show that error. Otherwise, we can move on and we can actually check to see if that connection was successful by doing a ping against our cluster. But before we do that, we do want to add some cleanup code through the means of a defer. So when our application ends, it goes through this defer process of actually disconnecting from our database, doing any kind of cleanup, things like that. So what we can do is we can say defer function, and let's go ahead and add the following. So what we're doing here is we're defining another context. This particular context will have a timeout of 10 seconds, just like the previous. And in reality, we could have used the context from line 18, but it is good practice to split it up. So line 18's context, we're going to be using that for actual interactions against the database, whereas on line 27 here, we're going to save this for strictly the disconnect action. We're going to define that new context, we're going to defer the cancel, and we are going to say Mongo client .disconnect. We're going to pass in that context with the 10-second timeout. And as long as there wasn't any kind of error, it'll just gracefully do its thing. Otherwise, we'll print this error and panic because there was some kind of problem disconnecting. So with that, we can actually move on. We can actually move on to the ping that I previously mentioned. So what we can say is if error equals Mongo client dot ping, and we're going to provide our context here, the initial context from line 18, and we're going to pass in nil. And we're going to say if that error is not equal to nil, then we're going to print it. We're going to panic. So we're going to say panic error. At this point, we know that the connection was successful, and we can even do so much as printing it out. So we're going to say fmt.println, and we're going to say connected to MongoDB. So we have a connection. We can take it a step further, though, if you want. At this point in time, you technically don't need the ping, but we're doing it for this particular example because we don't plan to do any find operations or insert or things like that. But if you wanted to, you could be satisfied that we're connected right here. We're going to take it a step further. In this case, we're actually going to list out the possible databases that we have access to for this particular user. And then we're going to clean up our code a little bit because if you scroll up, my use of the MongoDB URI hard-coded like this is definitely not best practice. So we're going to fix that as well. But before we fix that, we want to actually list out those databases. So let's go ahead and do that. So we're going to say databases or error equals, and we're going to say Mongo client.list database. And we're going to provide that context, the first one, and we're going to provide an empty filter. So we're going to say bson.m, and this is just going to be an empty bson map. And with that, as long as there's no error, once again, so I'm going to check for the error, we are going to print out those databases. So we're going to say fmt.println, we're going to say databases, and let's go ahead and print those out. So we're going to loop through it. And we're going to say for, and we're going to say db equals range databases dot databases. And we're going to say fmt.println, and we're going to say db.name. And that should print out our databases. So let's go ahead and give it a try and see what kind of results we end up with. So I'm going to go into my terminal and I'm going to say go run main.go. It looks like Visual Studio Code imported the wrong import. And this isn't necessarily a problem with MongoDB. It's just that this plugin that I'm using thinks that this should be the correct import, but it is not. So what we actually want is we want v2/ MongoDB options, and that fixes this particular error. So don't try to go get this old version. We're just going to fix the import, and I'm going to run it. Go run main.go. Starting the application, it said connected to MongoDB, good. And then the databases, those are the particular databases that this user has access to. So everything went well. So what I want to do next is I want to do some cleanup because, like I said, this probably is not a good idea. You don't want to hard code this because it's shipped with your application. So instead, a better idea is to make use of environment variables on your machine. And this is just one of many better ideas. So it's up to you to figure out what works the best for your development scenario. But I'm going to use the operating system environment variables. But I'm also going to have a fallback just in case. So what I want to do is I want to declare a new function up top here. So I want to say function. I'm going to call it getEnv. I'm going to provide it a key, and I'm going to have a default value. And this is going to be a string, and it's going to return a string. All right. So worst case scenario is we return the default value. So whatever the user provided as the default, that will be returned. And you don't have to do it this way. This is just a way that I find convenient in case I switch between production and development mode. But I'm going to say if value equals os.getEnv, and I'm going to provide the key and the value, and that's as long as that's not equal to an empty string, I'm going to say return value. So what I'm saying here is I'm just getting whatever environment variable exists that I provide. If it doesn't have anything, then return the default. And what I can do down here is I'm going to actually copy this and change it a bit. I'm going to say getEnv. This particular key is going to be MongoDB URI. It does not need to match the variable name. And then the default value is this, which probably the default value is not going to be your Atlas connection string. It's probably going to be something like localhost. Maybe you have Community Edition running or a Docker container, or maybe you have a dedicated MongoDB Atlas cluster for testing and development. It's totally up to you how you want to do things. So this particular URI should actually be a string as well. So this would, in theory, be my environment variable. And if it exists, it'll use it. Otherwise, it'll use that default. But reviewing what we have here as far as code goes, so what we did was we defined our connection options. That included our MongoDB URI. It also included this optional application name, which would help me as far as attribution goes for this particular video. We define the context, which has a timeout. This particular context is used for our interactions with the database. And then we have a secondary context, which is for our disconnect. But we make an attempt to connect to our MongoDB instance with our options. If we want to check to see if it succeeded, what we do is we do a ping operation here. And as long as that ping returned no error, we're confidently connected. We took it a step further. What we did was we listed out our databases and we looped through them and printed out the names. You can choose to do that. Both the ping and the list databases are completely optional. It really depends on how you want to use things. Maybe you want to use the ping as part of a health check. That's totally fair game as well. Or you can go straight into your standard CRUD operations with MongoDB. If you like this tutorial, please make sure you give it a thumbs up and leave a comment if you enjoyed it or if you had trouble. I'm happy to engage in the comments and help you out if you get stuck. Until next time, have a great rest of your day.